Hi everyone. You must be getting bored at home. We've been home for such a long time. Amy's joining me today.
Hello.
And we decided that we would do some baking with you today. That should be quite fun.
We're going to make cinnamon rolls, also known as Cinnabons.
Which will be delicious. Come and see what you need.
So for today, you're going to need some baking paper, some thawed puff pastry, some cinnamon, some brown sugar, a little bit of melted butter, some flour for sprinkling the surface, some salt, and if you like, you can add some crushed nuts or raisins.
The first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to take 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar. So Amy's putting the brown sugar into her measuring cup. There's 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar. We need 3 tablespoons of cinnamon. If you have a little bit extra, that's okay, because Cinnabons are Cinnabons with all of the cinnamon. Now we need 1/2 teaspoon of salt, so look on your teaspoon measures for 1/2 teaspoon or 2.5 milliliters. Can you mix that up? Let's set that aside for later. What we need to do now is turn our oven onto 180 degrees and get our thawed puff pastry and open it. Before we unroll it onto the surface, we need to sprinkle a little bit of flour onto the surface so that it doesn't stick. And yes, we have washed our hands before we started this. And we'll sprinkle a little bit of flour on top so that the rolling pin doesn't stick. And then just roll it out a little bit, don't overwork it. There we go. That looks good. Now paint the surface with your pastry brush with melted butter. Use your cinnamon and sugar mix and sprinkle it all over the melted butter. Not everyone in our family likes raisins, so we're going to do 1/2 raisins and 1/2 nuts. Now we need to carefully roll it. It's a little bit like rolling a floor mat. Do you want to do that side? Now we're going to cut our tube into half. We're going to cut each half in half again. So we've cut it into quarters. We have 4 quarters, and we're going to cut those quarters into half again. You have to use quite a sharp knife, so be very cautious with it or ask your mum or dad to help you. Let's carefully put these Cinnabons onto our tray. We need to leave a bit of space between them. And they should be ready to go into the oven for 10 or 15 minutes. Just keep an eye on them.
Now we're going to make a glaze. For the glaze, you're going to need half a cup of icing sugar, and you're going to need some water. With the water, you're just going to add in a small bit at a time until you get a nice smooth consistency. Some vanilla extract. So when you get a consistency kind of like this, it should be done. Now we're going to set this aside until our Cinnabons come out of the oven. So now that we've taken our Cinnabons out of the oven, we're going to take the glaze that we made earlier and just sprinkle it over as we wait for them to cool. And we do this while it's hot so it can melt all over it. Can't wait to bring one to my mom for coffee in the morning. Hope you do too, she'll really appreciate it. And that's it for now.